Previously, America reformed itself in the Gilded Age and Progressive Era. Now it steps onto the world stage and Depression, 1910s to 1940s.
Beginning with a conflict that reshaped the entire world.
By 1914, Europe was divided into rival alliances, armed to the teeth and bound by treaties that could drag the whole continent into war.
The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo set off a chain reaction of alliances and declarations that plunged Europe into war within weeks. This war introduced horrifying new weapons and tactics: machine guns, poison gas, and grueling trench warfare that ground armies to a standstill. At first, the United States stayed neutral, with many Americans wanting nothing to do with what seemed like a distant European conflict. German submarine attacks, including the sinking of the passenger ship Lusitania, killed American civilians and began shifting public opinion toward war. A secretly intercepted telegram revealed Germany's plan to encourage Mexico to attack the United States, outraging the American public. In April 1917, the United States formally entered World War I, joining the Allied powers against Germany and its allies. Fresh American troops brought new energy and manpower. They came to support the exhausted Allied lines. They helped to turn the tide of the war. On November 11, 1918, an armistice ended the fighting. But the true cost of the war was staggering, with millions killed across all sides. The Treaty of Versailles ended the war officially, but its harsh terms against Germany would leave lasting resentment, seeds of future conflict. President Wilson pushed for a League of Nations to prevent future wars, but the U.S. Senate ultimately rejected American membership. The war had transformed America, expanding its industrial power, its global influence, and its confidence as a rising world leader.
With the war behind it, America entered a decade unlike any before, an era of dramatic cultural change, prosperity, and new freedoms known as the Roaring Twenties.
Post-war industry surged, wages rose, and new consumer goods like automobiles and radios flooded American households for the first time.
Henry Ford's assembly line made automobiles affordable for ordinary families, transforming how Americans lived, worked, and traveled.
Jazz music exploded in popularity, filling dance halls and clubs with a bold new sound that captured the era's restless energy.
In Harlem, an extraordinary flowering of black art, literature, and music took place, producing some of the era's most influential cultural voices. At the same time, the 18th Amendment banned the sale of alcohol nationwide, aiming to promote a more moral, sober society. Instead of stopping drinking, prohibition pushed it underground. Secret bars called speakeasies flourished, and organized crime grew rich, supplying illegal alcohol.
Bootlegging turned into big business, giving rise to powerful criminal organizations that operated with startling influence in major cities.
Advertising, credit buying, and mass media helped fuel an explosion in consumer culture, changing how Americans spent and thought about money.
Radio broadcasts brought news, music, and entertainment into homes across the country, connecting Americans like never before. Beneath the glitz, not everyone shared in the prosperity. Farmers struggled with falling prices, and dangerous financial speculation was quietly building.
This dazzling decade of prosperity was built on shakier ground than it seemed, and it was about to come crashing down.
October 1929, the stock market collapsed, and the good times came to a sudden, brutal end.
Stock prices plummeted almost overnight, wiping out fortunes and shattering the confidence that had defined the previous decade. Thousands of banks collapsed, wiping out the life savings of ordinary Americans who had trusted them with everything they had.
By 1933, roughly 1 in 4 American workers was unemployed, an economic collapse unlike anything the nation had experienced before.
Homeless families built makeshift shanty towns, bitterly nicknamed Hoovervilles, after the president, many blamed for failing to act.
In the Great Plains, severe drought and soil erosion created massive dust storms, devastating farms and forcing thousands of families to migrate west in search of work.
In 1933, a newly elected president promised bold action, launching a sweeping set of programs known as the New Deal. New regulations and federal deposit insurance helped restore public trust, stabilizing the banking system almost immediately. Massive public works programs employed millions of Americans, building roads, dams, parks, and bridges that still stand today. The Social Security Act created a safety net for the elderly and unemployed, a permanent shift in the government's role in American life. The economy slowly began to recover, though full recovery wouldn't truly arrive until an entirely new global crisis pulled America out of the Depression for good. Even as America worked to recover, a far greater crisis was building overseas, one that would soon pull the entire world into war once again. In 1939, Germany's invasion of Poland triggered declarations of war across Europe, plunging the continent into conflict once again. At first, the United States stayed officially neutral, though it increasingly supplied aid to Britain and other allied nations. That changed on December 7, 1941, when Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, killing over 2,400 Americans and pulling the U.S. directly into the war.
The following day, Congress declared war on Japan, and within days, the United States found itself fighting on two fronts, the Pacific and Europe. In the Pacific, American forces fought a grueling island-by-island campaign against Japan, marked by fierce and costly battles.
In Europe, the D-Day invasion of Normandy in June 1944 marked a turning point, opening a crucial second front against Nazi Germany. Carried out the systematic murder of 6 million of others in what became known as the Holocaust, one of history's darkest chapters. As Allied forces advanced across Europe, they liberated concentration camps, revealing the full horror of what had taken place and ensuring the world would never forget. Back home, American factories shifted entirely to wartime production, manufacturing planes, ships, and weapons at an extraordinary pace.
With millions of men serving overseas, women entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers, symbolized by the iconic figure of Rosie the Riveter.
The war also brought grave injustice at home. Over 120,000 Japanese Americans were forcibly relocated to internment camps, based solely on their ancestry. In May 1945, Germany surrendered, ending the war in Europe. But the fighting in the Pacific continued for several more months. By the war's end in 1945, the world had changed forever, and America emerged as one of two global superpowers, stepping into an entirely new kind of conflict. War and depression twice over. A Cold War fought in shadows. Next, Cold War for civil rights, 1940s to 1970s.